I called you here today because we face dire circumstances.
Where's my crosshair?
Our intelligence has confirmed the existence of a new threat that is unlike any we have seen before. This organization has the ability to carry out attacks anywhere in the world. They are highly lethal and indiscriminate of age, religion, or nationality. The potential for loss of human life and psychological terror is substantial and cannot be ignored.
It's so bad. This game is seriously the worst.
If I say to you the word shooter games, there's a high chance you think about games like Call of Duty, Battlefield, or even Halo. But if I say tactical shooter games, then there's a high chance that you thought about Rainbow Six Siege. And for very good reasons, that game left a huge impact on the shooter franchise, as well as a pretty decent one on YouTube. And for a long while, the game was among the top 10 most played game on Steam. But what happened exactly? The player count dropped significantly, the views on YouTube dropped significantly, and the player frustration increased significantly.
It's so laggy! What is this game? Fix your servers!
Don't worry, I'm here to explain to you the downfall of Rainbow Six Siege.
What?
This game!
I got him! What? 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 What?
I don't. You're gonna try it anyways. Wow. What the?
No, let me start. Ich kann nicht töten! Ich kann nicht töten!
Hello? What am I shooting? There's someone, dude.
Drop the diffuser.
But before we can talk about its downfall, we have to explain why Rainbow Six was popular to begin with, because you can hardly fall off if you never rise to the top. And in the case of Rainbow, the rise to the top was extremely complicated. The launch trailer was extremely misleading, showing footage that didn't lie with the actual game. The servers were buggy, messy, with terrible matchmaking system, almost making it unplayable. The hurt boxes were badly designed, and the cheaters were rampant. But all of this was improved upon, and after 2 years, the game finally took the polished form it was supposed to take. But what is so special about this game that led people to keep playing it despite the massive issues? To answer that question, we have to compare it to another similar game that handles search and destroy. I present to you Counter-Strike.
Over toward Atrium, taps and goes quick. Cold Zero's quicker. Gets a second as well as the bomb will go down and follows it up. They're all lining up. Cold Zero with an ace. It's also flashed off Eagle. Works though. Limited vision, limited weapons. Doesn't even matter. Dude, pray! Oh, the rotations. Oscar's gone. Chris isn't. Omp's still in the picture. Omp's still very much in the round. Oh, Chris! He's found 3. It's down to a 2-on-2. Chris, can he close this with an ace? Oh my God!
Counter-Strike is the first fully fleshed out game centered around the search and destroy game mode. But as Pedani, I hear you say, what is search and destroy? It's a game mode where you have to blow up one, or usually multiple sites, and you usually have access to utility that helps you take sites, such as flashbangs, smokes, Molotovs, and etc. And no game before Counter-Strike based their entire game off this mode. But it wasn't long before others followed, even having communities changing rules of existing shooters to try and replicate this kind of gameplay. A good example would be ProMod from Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Is a dangerous one. Leaf Sauner has to challenge. He does take down Chrislo, but there's the immediate revenge kill from Stuzor. Perfect placement, very clever play once again from IM Gaming.
But these games never succeeded to the same level as Counter-Strike. But what did Counter-Strike do that others didn't? Simple, it gave players depth and good mechanics. The shooting mechanic is unique with the spray pattern and movement. Okay, time to record some bunny hopping. Okay, I give up. and aiming became an extreme asset because of how good headshots are. And most importantly, depth, so much depth. If you're a Gold Nova or Master Guardian, you probably didn't realize how much depth there is, because raw aiming skills can be enough to get you through those ranks. But if you wish to get a higher rank, higher than DMG, then chances are that you had to start using nades properly, and when I say properly, I just don't mean chuck them at the corner and spray. I actually mean taking advantage of the map layout and creating strategies around that. This not only allows for a lot of options, but it also creates infinite scenarios. And here's an example of how complex this game can be.
You do the one way here, you do the extension smoke there, and then possibly you either molly goose, you molly ramp, or you molly CT, and then you have flashes, you flash over behind, you flash here twice, you flash away the upper angle, because most oppers are gonna, be posted up there, and I don't even do anything.
This kind of thought process is usually absent in most other search and destroy games, and for a long time CS had a monopoly for this genre. But of course, you guessed it, that was before Rainbow Six came to the map.
Push in with Exclusive, but he'll be down. Slash gets picked off by Exclusive, and now Susie will look left. Ooh, and it will be Jarvis getting the shots on the talent in time. Oh, and there it is, it will be Delaykin.
Science waiting for 6 Project to come in, does take him down through the smoke, looks for the Falco as well, gets him with the last bullet before he gets down to Spoken goes now. Now Spoken does go out the back, catches on the revive, picks up 2, that's important. Renshiro though kills off Rulers as he comes around the corner, but then loses his shield. The A windows, this is going to mix them up a lot. Lunatic are in sudden trouble, they lose Nick, they're going to lose Mental as well, what a flick. I'm sorry, you can see Gibbles right there, it's an easy shot for Canadian actually. Necrox is now going to come up behind, he's got Mental, but Nix is waiting for him, he can see him first.
Rainbow Six decided to take CS and make it a game about game sense first, then a shooter second. Not saying that shooting is meaningless, by the way, but don't worry, I'm gonna elaborate on what I just said. In CS, good strategies can help you win rounds.
But it makes a lot of noise, and for no reason at this point. The bomb is planted, 1 HP on automatic, that smoke could save him.
Watch the AK, automatic has the headshot potential. The smoke could not only save him, but give him an escape, and Taco's aware of it. It could be back-to-back halves in which SK steal back round 2. He's giving a lot of time. Staying in the smoke, that's quite good!
But if you're in a pickle, but have good aiming skills, it's not impossible to reverse the situation and win back the advantage. You always have a clear line of sight, and the enemy is always visible enough to the point where you can dink his head. But in Rainbow Six, that kind of aiming skills won't always be enough to save you from a terrible situation, and there's a lot of reason why that is. Some are subtle, like the fact that unlike CS you can aim down your sight and lean, making you expose less of yourself. And some are obvious and are what makes Rainbow Six Rainbow Six.
Down to 5.
Microcell deploying night.
The big standout from all other search and destroy games. Map in this game are always centered around the building. You may be able to go outside, but this gets you detected after a small time. And unless you like to get flanked by the entire team, it's best that you go back inside ASAP.
Ah oui, vas-y parle, espèce d'arabe de merde. Retourne dans ton pays avec ton RSA de con.
The thing is though, that a lot of stuff in these maps are destructible. Walls, destructible. Floors, destructible. Hatches, destructible. This not only creates new ways to shoot, but also new ways to move. This kind of mechanics is absent to a lot of shooter games, and when they are attempted, they are usually really gimmicky or serves no purpose whatsoever. But in Rainbow, they're so important, and an example is better than a TED Talk. I'm stuck in a room, and I know that there is a guy that is watching the doorway. He may be on the second floor, behind a wall, close to the pillar, or watching from the stairs. I have no drones, so peeking this makes me extremely vulnerable. So the best way is to go to this door. The problem is that there is also a guy in this hallway, and I know that. He may be at this door, behind the wall, at the laundry room. This is a bad situation for me, but I have a breaching charge, and there might just be a destructible wall behind me. This may not give me an angle where I can cover every options, but it's already much better than peeking the door, and I have a good chance of winning the aim off. But I could also destroy this wall and try something there. So already you can see how destructible environment creates interesting scenarios, and this alone helps Siege stand out among every shooter imaginable, because when you look at other shooters, there's always a competing game next to it, because they have a similar style. Paladin, Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, all compete directly with each other. Call of Duty, Halo, Battlefield, all compete with each other. CSGO, Valorant, same. Sure, CS and Valorant are search and destroy games that have the same objective, but the execution is so different that they offer a completely different experience. But then you also have Gadgets, and the good thing about them is that not only are they interesting gameplay wise, but they also help create a strong identity with this game that takes the form of operators. Quick question if you have played this game. If I show you these operators, what are the first voice dialogues you can think of?
말보다는 행동이지.
A really big fucking hole coming right up.
I'm 99% sure that you guessed most of these voice lines, and for good reasons. The operators are more than just an NPC with a gadget, it's an actual character, with good design, good voice lines, good voice acting. And they also feel authentic. For example, when Thermite opens up a wall without a fire battle, he says quietly,
"A really big fucking hole coming right up."
But when he's in the middle of a battle, he goes,
"A really big fucking hole coming right up!"
It's no coincidence that in recent years, the numbers of cutscenes created have only increased. People wish to see a movie based on this game because it already has solid characters. But enough about the characters. I was talking about the Gadget after all. If Destruction creates an option of movement and line of sight, Gadgets creates an option of scenario, sometimes creating or denying a strategy entirely, and since there is 5 operators in each team, this means that you can try to synergize the Gadget with each other for a greater effect. This is just an example of many strategies you can do, and certain channels are even dedicated to sharing small tips and tricks to help you win games. But of course, with this many factors in the game, something was going to break.
What is this game?
I just fell through the map. I fell through the map. I fell through the map.
But wait, didn't you say that they fixed all the main issues that the game suffered at launch? Well, not really. They did fix some issues, but they mainly slapped a band-aid for most of the problems. And when they fix something, something else just breaks. This has been a problem with the game since the beginning, and honestly I'm amazed by the sheer variety of bugs in this game. From UI bugs, model bugs, teleports, shields on the face, you can shoot for shields, like what the fuck is that? The game has been infested with bugs for so long. In fact, 9 months ago I made a mini-series where the goal was to play all my placements with a challenge each game, and I still managed to get a handful of bugs within 10 games.
Why am I like rubber banding? What is this?
Of course!
And even more recently, like 2 months ago, I played one game and I got this thing. What? Even more recently, the first thing that happened the moment I launched the game was a bug. Yeah, you heard me. I wasn't even in the match, nor in the menu that there was already a bug. But don't worry, after I got another in-game bug. Like, I'm not kidding when I said this game is a fucking mess. There is so much bugs. It's my second game and I can't even see the UI, I can't even tab in. It's complete. I don't know which operator I picked.
Drone has located a bomb.
And you know what's even funnier? Some bugs just come back. Yeah, you heard me. They fixed one bug and it just crawls back up from its tomb. This Jaeger head shield glitch happened 3 times, and this clash bug happened 3 times as well.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding.
And well, you might be wondering, why is this game so buggy? And well, there is a reason. It might not be the be-all end-all, but it's very likely that these issues stem from the foundation of the game. If you didn't know, Rainbow Six wasn't supposed to be this big titan that it was. It was just supposed to be a small game to not waste resources they already spent on another game. In fact, this game got created with scraps of a cancelled Rainbow Six game.
As many as 150 developers worked on Patriots. However, almost as soon as the game was actually revealed, this number would begin to slip. After remaining silent about Patriots for several months, Ubisoft would announce in March of 2012 that key staff, including David Sears, had been removed from the project, and that it would now continue under the leadership of creative director Jean-Sébastien Decant. Following this, Patriots would see portions of its staff shuffle to other projects within the company on a seemingly continuous basis. A few employees would comment anonymously on the game's development, claiming that Patriots had repeatedly failed to meet its intended deadlines, and that the project had seen many creative directors come and go without any real progress being made. Finally, after close to 2 years of uncertainty, Ubisoft would reveal Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege on stage at E3 2014.
And using the Assassin's Creed engine.
An anonymous source would claim that a large part of Patriots' problems stemmed from the engine being used. After relying on the Unreal Engine for many of the series' previous entries, Patriots was set to adopt Ubisoft's proprietary Anvil Next engine, which had been built for the Assassin's Creed series. However, in practice, the engine ended up being a massive hindrance on the game's development. Because Anvil Next had never been used to create a first-person shooter before, features that would have previously taken only a fraction of time to implement took ages, and the game's frame rate was, quote, unsalvageable. Regardless of its strengths, the Anvil Next engine had aged significantly at this point and wouldn't be supported by the next generation of video game consoles. Even if the Patriots team managed to make the most of the engine, pursuing it any further was considered an unwise investment in the long term.
You know, the single-player quest adventure game. And while they managed to make something beautiful out of it, I'm truly amazed by this. This ultimately poses a problem where each patch Ubisoft keeps pushing the limit of this game, and it really shows. A solution to this would be to make a sequel, but this would also mean lose all the stuff you got for the first game. And I doubt the community really wants that. In fact, I don't even know if they care at this point. But hey, what do I know? I'm just here talking about a game I haven't played seriously for 2 years with my pants down. The Spaghetti Foundation creates a lot of holes, and if there's holes, there is rats. Cheating is a problem, but it's not like other games. In Siege, it's surprisingly common. And you don't even need to reach the top ranks to see it. The moment you get to Plat, you already see a decent amount of them.
Other games cheaters. No, I wasn't cheating, bro. Yes, he was. Siege cheaters. Yeah, I fucking cheated, dude.
The sad part is that you can closet cheat pretty well to make yourself look legit. Yes, just like Minecraft PvP. This leads to toxic behavior, because you don't know who is legit and who is not. But who am I kidding? Whoa, this game doesn't need an excuse to be toxic.
Shut the fuck up, you little monkey nigga.
Like, I'm not going to pretend that Siege is the only game suffering from this problem, because the moment there is multiplayer and there is competitive, there is toxicity. It's just a fact, it's just how gaming is. But in a game like Rainbow Six, you need severe punishment because having just one toxic player on your team destroys the experience for everyone. They did try to fix that issue multiple times by forcing two-factor authentication to play ranked, activating team kill and reputation, or even improving the anti-cheat. But for some reason I have my doubt about the whole improving thing. And let's not talk about the perspective and hit registration issues, cause it's awful. It's so sad seeing this, cause the shooting in this game feels great, it really does, and the headshots are so satisfying to land when they work. You know what else will be satisfying? Subscribing to my channel and turning on notifications so you never miss out on a video, cause they do take ages to make.
They made Siege worse? I thought it was gonna be better.
Actually, in the worst state it's ever been.
How? How does that happen every time?
The meta from this game started off interesting, and teams had their own ways of playing, which made the esports scene pretty interesting to watch.
Some teams will play passive, some teams will play aggressive. We used to have Vitality back in Pro League in Europe, and we used to call them the last 20-second team, because they literally would always execute in the last 5 sometimes seconds, and they would have to sprint in, hold F. If you kill the panther, you win the round. But they had such a good setup because they used so much time, and you had teams that would just crouch walk around, like the old Chaos, for example, and they would just get kills. Then you had teams like Empire that were super strat heavy, where they would ABC the fuck out of every attack, and it made them dominate for almost 2 years until people figured it out. You had identity.
But the game took a turn and not for the best. You see, I don't know why that is, but the devs decided to create so many traps and bulletproof utility that the defending side actually has an edge over the attacking one. And because attackers and defenders phases switches only after 3 rounds, this means that you can be at a disadvantage just by starting on the attacker side. But why is that?
We're frustrated that the utility meta or the utility game is so one-sided. When you're a defender in Siege, you basically choose and dictate how the attackers play the game. It's definitely more about the fact that defenders have too many tools and attackers not enough tools, because if you look at a very generic lineup, for example, you have 1 shield plus 2 shield plus 1 shield plus 1 shield, right? So you have 5 shields in this single lineup, and you have obviously 3 ADSs from Jaeger, which denies 6, plus you have the 5 Omais, right? So you're basically denying 11 flashbang, utility, etc. On attack, you only, with this lineup, you only have 3 flashbangs on Ashe, plus 3 flashbangs on Hibana, which is 6. You can use 2 Sophia stuns, 8, let's say that's 8. And then you need to use 2 smoke grenades from Ace, plus 1 Ace charge. And then you can start killing shields.
Trying to get into sight before destroying all of them, using your own utility by the way, is almost impossible. Each round, doesn't matter how you want to play, the game will just force you to deal with unfun mechanics first, before being able to do anything. It just becomes jarring after a while. And even beyond the utility, the balancing feels so RNG at times. Some operator gets buffed a lot for no reason, some other gets nerfed to oblivion for no reason, and some other that are perfectly fine, or just getting changed for nothing. Finka was always considered a decent operator, even if you didn't see her that much, because when it comes to pro play you don't necessarily need buff to win your gunfights. So they tried pushing her pick rate by giving her nades, and well, it's not a bad thing I guess, but it wasn't needed. And then they buffed her gadget, then her weapon, then they buffed the LMGs, and next thing you know, Finka becomes completely broken and was the leading head of an entire meta.
Told you, Finka LMG busted. Everyone and their mother has been saying Finka LMG is so broken, and the data backs that up. LMGs in general have been complained about for 6 months.
Blitz started off very weak.
Buffing Blitz. People find him to be underwhelming, they don't think that he's a very effective attacking operator because a lot of the drawbacks that he has.
When Operation Chimera hit, he received this final buff before going downhill. They made him go 2-speed after fucking up the code, and for once, Blitz was actually good.
Oh my god! How is that balanced?
First, they reduced the distance of the flash. Okay, fair enough, he's faster, he doesn't need to flash from far away. Then, shields melee only downed people instead of killing. Unnecessary, but fine, I can deal with that. Then they increased the ADS time by more than half a second, which made him so bad because in order to be effective, Blitz needs to be close. But he can't just continuously run at you, otherwise he's gonna get his leg shot. So you either try to close the gap with smokes, or you try to pressure the guy to make him run so you have enough time to ADS and shoot him back. But with this nerf, they have time to run back a bit, turn around, and shoot you if you try to ADS. And for the final one, which wasn't intended, you have shields just not functioning correctly and you get shot through it so easily, unless it extends fully. This not only makes Blitz really bad and so situational that it's not even worth to bother unless you have the perfect sight on a map that favors him with operator that doesn't fuck him over. Wow, I really dragged this one for too long. Sledge, who is kinda similar to Buck, where he's a Salt Breacher but he had to expose himself more for it, but he had access to the SMG-11, a machine pistol that helped you kill people in close quarter situations. And this was interesting, cause you could play him slow and tactical or more aggressive, you had options, but...
I think I'll take it.
Oh, you can't have it.
Why?
We got this earlier this morning. We can't sell it to you.
Dev team is off the control again now.
Another playstyle in the trash.
Recoil needs to be increased on some guns, and some reduced, I guess I should say. Issue with Siege is that if you compare Legion's gun to Bearing 9 to SMG 12,
compared to Sledge Ability 5, compared to SMG 11, compared to Twitch's gun, compared to Bennett's gun,
you get a curve looking like this. Some guns have no recoil, some guns have a lot of recoil, some guns can't even be fucking controlled by the best player in the goddamn world whose name is Fabian. It's not possible.
I took a bit longer with this one, but I really wanted to show how harmful some of these changes are. And the worst part about it is that it just takes too long. I'm not asking to go the Fortnite route where every 4 months the game has to change so much that each season feels completely different to the last, because that can be harmful. But that's a topic for another video. But usually it takes 9 months to get anything done, which makes it the more frustrating when the changes are bad.
We had Ella, who came out broken as shit. Took them 9 months to fix her. We had Lion, who came out, was probably one of the most busted gadgets that has ever graced Siege. Took them 6 months to fix him. Malusi, who came out just last year in June of 2020, finally got reworked and balanced in June 2021. That is an average of 9 months to fix an operator.
Not to say that every changes are bad though, like the dead bodies disappearing was a good change to prevent client-side bullshit. The new scopes also gave more options, even if they went overboard with the ACOG removals, but you get what I mean. I could talk about the balancing forever, like how Nomad's Gadget quite literally shuts down the flank with no effort, or like how Grim is the most useless operator ever, but this video is already taking way too long to make, and I don't want to spend a month without uploading.
Lives a man whose strange experiments have unleashed unspeakable horror.
The fuck is that? What are we fighting? Jesus Christ! Fight!
You have all these side events like Doctor's Curse, The Great Larceny, Outbreak, who are all incredible events by the way, but it took 6 years to have a training room? As well as a replay system, and the worst part is that it came out so buggy and messy at launch, and it took forever to be fixed. And then the one I found the most outraging is customs. They are pretty lackluster, as in they don't have anything interesting to practice. There is no Infinity Gadget option, meaning that if you're practicing a difficult C4 throw, you have to kill yourself every time you miss it, wait for the loading screen to end, then pick the operator again, wait for the prep phase, and then try again, and this every time you want to throw it. There's also no way to pause around or switch sides mid-game, or anything like that. So if you want to practice strategies or setups, you either get it first try, or you have to wait ages to try again. It's annoying, and I remember not wanting to practice strats ever because of how annoying and boring it is. If that was made less tedious, I probably would have done it a couple of times. But at least you could have practiced something else.
Oh, come on, why are you gonna do that to me? It's just like...
I found that further we go, the more Siege is limiting the ability to self-express your skill. Thankfully, it's there, but compared to before, it's been nerfed. At one point in time, they removed drop shotting, which was pretty liked overall, but I would still maintain that it wasn't necessary, but that's another topic. And it's far from the only technique that has been nerfed. This technique I'm about to show was pretty deadly, if mastered. But before you ask me why hasn't it been more known if it was that deadly, it's because Ubisoft unintentionally nerfed it the moment they changed drop shots and how resprinting worked. So the technique didn't have time to pick up a lot of traction. This meant that at one point, you had 3 ways to peek. You could clear angles one by one, wave shot, or quick clean, which was nerfed, but understandable considering that contesting a quick cleaner at 60Hz was pretty unfair. But now you just have one, which is clearing the angles one by one. You could still somewhat do it, but it was heavily nerfed, until one day...
Mate, this is the beginning of a beautiful floor humping send.
Oh my god, you moved so quick. What? You've just invented a new meta, mate. You've literally just invented a new meta.
I can't tell you if this clip was the reason that Ubisoft changed the get up animation so you can't do this, but it happened literally 2 weeks after that and without anyone noticing. So people have not realized it, but doing this technique was completely impossible. This means that there is no way to outmaneuver yourself into getting a kill using movement. They nerfed everything. And people want this kind of stack. When lean crouch spam was possible, people spammed the fuck out of it. Not saying keep lean spam, it was unhealthy, okay? It just was bad. But it showed that people aren't against the idea of tech like this. Lean crouch spam just happened to be a harmful one. My point being that the game has been standardized for everyone to play the same way. oh, a new season dropped.
There's more hype around the test server than the actual release of the season. You should be hyping up the release as if it's a new game. Stop treating these seasons as small DLCs. They're big for us players and you should be promoting them as such.
You used to be hyped for a new season. Shit would get teased, an ambience would be set, more lore, a new map, 2 new operators with new guns. Oh my god, I can't wait to play it. But now it's like Ubisoft doesn't even care to try and hype up seasons. Granted, there is a lot of leakers, but they aren't even trying to fix that issue. They just invite a lot of creators without security checking everything, and then 2 minutes later, oh no, our content got leaked, how could it be? They also just kind of drop it like that and be like, oh, new season in a couple of days, boys. And we're like, oh, okay. And well, new seasons aren't even that exciting anymore because content is being cut out or reused. Like, let's look at Operation Parabellum. You had a new map, 2 new operators, new guns, a new side gadget that was the bulletproof camera, overall a new aesthetic.
Content we are getting per season is incredibly low. We used to get 2 operators, plus a new map, plus mid-season reinforcements every single season. And now we've moved over towards 1 operator per season, and then the map rework is either a casual one, like Favela, a very minor one, like Border, or next season where we get no map rework at all. There's just nothing to really get excited about with each season. It's just so little.
1 map rework that isn't necessarily in ranked now, 1 operator, and they have reused guns most of the time. And they're not adding anything on the side to compensate for that lack of content we used to have. Like, look at Operation Chimera, for example. This season didn't have a new map, but it came out with Outbreak, who is easily a top 3 event all seasons combined, and it lasted the entire season too. Now it just feels like they don't care to try to make it interesting. Heck, those menu starting screen that used to have an art of the season paired with an altered version of the menu theme, yeah, that's gone. Like, we don't need it, it's just a new season. Like, look at Fortnite for example. Even if I stopped liking this game a long time ago, they always managed to keep you interested in the new seasons. Remember when they shut down their game for 2 days? Yeah, that caught everyone's attention, and next thing you know, Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 1 was a massive success.
I really fell off of Siege and playing the game, and as much as I loved it back in the days, the game isn't the same for me anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's still a great game and all, and it's fun to play with friends, but to me, it's just not the early years of Siege that got me so hooked. Personally, I just feel like there's more negatives to the game than there are positives. There's bugs, glitches, cheaters, that's always been a part of the game, but I just feel like it's really out of hand.
As someone who has spent a lot of time playing this game, I'm pretty saddened by the state of it. The player base is at all-time low, core issues still plagues the game to this day, interest for it has pretty much vanished, the esports scene is barely watched now compared to before, same for the content on YouTube. This led to creators either taking a huge hit in views or deserting the game entirely. And it's a shame really, cause Ubisoft has a gem that is slowly rotting away because they're afraid of taking drastic changes. This is certainly a dying game, but despite all of it, I would be surprised to see this game go for good. The game is truly a unique experience, and truth be told, when recording footage for it, I still managed to have fun here and there. Which isn't something I could say for a game like Fortnite. The only thing that can truly seal this game is actual competition.